Scariest animal encounters. This duck was just minding its business when...
Oh God.
A biker was just doing his normal route when a tiger saw his next meal. On a scale of 1 to 10, how brave is this man? Videos that still need an explanation. A man named Irwin was in the woods one day when he claims he found this creature. These two officers were called in for a noise disturbance in the cemetery when something unexpected happens. A mother had always seen her daughter playing with an imaginary friend. One day the daughter was playing in McDonald's and the mom took a picture of her. There was a face next to her, but the mom didn't notice it when she took the picture. When she showed the daughter the image and said, "Who is that next to you?" the daughter replied, "That's my imaginary friend, Beto." Scary videos that'll keep you up at night, part 2. This video was taken at a medical center in India. At first it looks like an escaped patient, but the way she's climbing says otherwise. Two girls were playing in their room when they spotted something really weird.
Up there! I told you! I told you I seen something! Quickly! No! I bet I'm telling you now. Up there! See? What'd I say? Oh my God! What'd I say? It's gone! No, shush. No. No!
Before I continue, this app is paying people just to walk. If you want to check it out, click here and thank me later. This man realized that his food was going missing, that he wasn't eating at all. So he decided to put a hidden camera in his kitchen and found a woman living in his attic and sneaking down at night to eat his food. Scary videos that'll keep you up at night. One night, a woman was heard screaming, "Help me, somebody help me," in a car that was speeding down the neighborhood. This was the footage caught on someone's doorbell camera. This woman has not been identified yet, but witnesses say they saw her earlier getting her hair pulled by someone in the car. This woman was hearing weird noises in her house, so she decided to FaceTime and call her friend. That's when a weird figure was seen behind her.
Try like Salvation Army first and see what I can find, you know. I went and bought DK.
Is there somebody in your house with you?
No, why? Why?
These are the chilling last moments of a woman that was unalived by her husband in Brazil. He finally catches her, unalives her, and sadly threw her off the balcony. This photo scares me. Last month, a Reddit user posted this photo of his kitchen online. He did this after hearing strange noises for over 3 years. I don't know about y'all, but somebody that looks like me would have been out. Now be honest, can you see something in the photo? Because I couldn't at first. Until one of the users brightened the photo and saw this. What do you guys think it is? Matter of fact, don't answer that question because I know you guys too well. I swear, if one of you say Keanu Reeves or Jared Leto, I am gonna come to your house and eat all your food out of your kitchen. Y'all never take anything serious. Anyways, this is the scary part. This is actually a video he took while in his apartment. Check it out. There's also a brightened version. Honestly, I would have moved. It's time to move. Would you move or would you stay? Let me know, because I would have got out of there. Whatever you do, do not answer this phone call. This is John Pork. Now, he's supposedly a CGI-generated influencer with an unsettling appearance. He seems to be half man, half swine. The creature posts videos of himself dancing and traveling around the world to popular tourist locations. But this is where things get scary. You see, John used to call everybody, but nobody would answer before he was sadly unalived. Yeah, John is no longer with us. He had went out for a night of fun and tragically was unalived. After this, people have been getting strange calls from a haunting contact that says John Pork. And if you answer, this is what happens. Before I tell you, I know this food look good. I'm sorry, I can't share. But here's what we're gonna do. Your fourth at has to make or buy you food for the rest of this month, since I made you suffer. Let me know who it is. Supposedly, if you answer the call of John Pork, you'll summon him from the dead, and at midnight, he'll appear. This story makes me never want to go on vacation again. Thomas' family were on an island vacation, enjoying their time as a family. Everything seemed like it was going well. They were having a great time. There were literally no complaints. Until one night, one of their daughters strangely goes missing. They looked everywhere, but no one could find her. This is where things start to get a little crazy. You see, her body was found floating near a waterfall, and the resort workers were said to have been blamed for what happened. Oh, but check this out. Years later, the younger sister runs into one of the men who were blamed for what happened to her sister. You won't believe what happened next. To find out more, you have to tune in to the Hulu original series, Saint X. That is the plot of the story, and the ending will blow your minds. To see what happens, tune in to Saint X, now streaming on Hulu. How come nobody is talking about the dragons that these scientists created? This was in Beijing. They were genetically cloned and brought back by scientists. You see, early last year, they had found a dragon corpse. It was in the Taimoshan Mountains. It had been there frozen for over 10,000 years and still had preserved scales, claws, and skin. Now it's clear they wanted to start cloning fast, because already this year, the researchers have gone straight to work. They took the DNA they found on the dragon and combining it with lizards alive today, like leopard geckos, bearded dragons, and Komodo dragons. This is creating whole new species of dragons, with wings and all. But this is where things get scary. But before I continue, don't these things look cute as heck? Like, don't you just want one as a pet? Say if you snuck in the lab and stole one, and then you were caught and they put you in jail. Your third act has to sneak in and come break you out. Who is it? Let me know. But let me know if you're doomed or not. But back to the scary part. All of this was found out because it was leaked in an email a hacker intercepted that was being sent to the government. In the email, it reports that one of the dragons that was spliced with a Komodo dragon had developed a toxic venom. And when it bit one of the scientists, he started to go rabid in a zombie-like state, trying to bite other scientists and pass on the venom. Luckily, none were bitten, but they're holding the scientists in a locked, safe room. Could this be how the zombie outbreak happens? Have you guys heard of the McDonald's cursed bench in Mexico? The story goes that there's a bench and it has a Ronald McDonald mannequin sitting on it. Now, there were two men that went to the club around the area. And you know how after a party or a club, you want to go get something to eat. So that's what they did. And they found a McDonald's that was open 24/7. They go in, they get their food, and you know, thinking nothing of it. It's just a regular night. Now, this is where it gets scary. Don't judge me. I know I'm a weirdo for doing this, but I love it. So they get their food, they walk out, and they decide to sit on the bench. Just have somewhere to sit while they eat their food. Once they're done, one of the guys gets both of their trash and goes to throw it out in the garbage. While the friend is waiting, he decides to lay on the lap of the Ronald McDonald mannequin on the bench. I got a question before I continue the story. McDonald's or Wendy's, which one do you think is better? Let me know. I want to see who wins. But once the guy laid on the lap, he goes, "Man, I'm tired." That's when the Ronald McDonald statue turned, looked down, and says, "So am I." This guy was so scared he ran off and never went to that McDonald's again. Now, supposedly there's security footage and everything of this. People all around the area have seen the Ronald McDonald statue in the middle of the night, walking around and moving. How come nobody is talking about these pictures? These were taken somewhere in West Africa. People there claim that multiple ships came down to greet them. At first they were scared, but soon after realized that the beings were friendly. Now, supposedly they were kind, but they had come to tell the people a message. They said they came to that area because this is where mankind began, and that they had come to warn us, their offspring, of what's to come. Now, of course, the people there were quick to take photos, and apparently the beings stayed for about 2 hours. They didn't speak with their mouths, but communicated telepathically. Now, the message they left the people was frightening. But before I tell you, why do aliens come here and not take me with them? Earth is ghetto, okay? Let's say the aliens came and gave you an opportunity to leave. Your second act gets to come with you. Let me know who it is. And tell me, would you take them with you or leave them on Earth? The message they left behind was this. They said they had good children on Earth and bad children on Earth hiding amongst us, and that there would be a war between both soon. They also said something like planet Nibiru was on its way. I have no clue what that means. Do any of you? I'm not trying to scare you, but this is terrifying. Remember when I said they were creating dragons in my past video? Well, now a lab funded by the same company has taken the DNA from a notosaurus that was found in Canada back in 2011. It had been preserved in ice for 110 million years. It had scales, claws, skin, all that still intact. Now to test things out, they started injecting small bits of DNA into pigeon eggs. And the pigeons started to grow strands of dinosaur features, like longer legs, and they started becoming bigger. Check this video out. Oh, but it didn't stop there. They started to experiment on baby chick embryos, and dinosaur-like creatures started to hatch from the eggs. Some even grew deformities, like this one right here, which grew no legs. Now this is where it gets scary. But before I even tell you, when you keep one of these as a pet, imagine you're given one by a scientist to take care of. Your third act has to co-parent with you. Let me know who it is and tell me, would the baby dinosaur survive with them co-parenting, or is it doomed? Back to the story. They found out that the dinosaurs grew to full adults by around 2 to 3 months because it still had chicken DNA, and chickens grow to full adults after 45 days. One of the adult dinosaurs ate its caretaker. The company that funded the lab doesn't care and is proceeding to build a zoo where families can come in and see the adult dinosaurs. The Muffin Man is actually a serial killer. You know the Muffin Man nursery rhyme, right? But did you know it was based on a dark, true story? 1 second. Chocolate chip. Tastes like your mama booty. But yeah, the story is darker than you think. Because in the 1800s, there was a man named Frederick Thomas Linwood. And he would wait lurking in alleys, looking for his next victims. And they would always be kids. You see, he would kidnap them and unalive them, luring them in with muffins. I mean, what kid wouldn't want a tasty snack? When the townspeople got word of what was happening, they decided to come together and figure out a way to prevent this, to spread awareness amongst the kids and keep them safe, warning them about the Muffin Man, who was a danger on Drury Lane. You're walking past the alleyway and the Muffin Man gets you. Your fourth act sees this and tries to rescue you. Let me know who it is and let me know if you think you'd be doomed or not. Anyways, he's one of the first documented serial killers in the world. And everyone still teaches this song to their kids, even children TV shows. And yet nobody knows that. Let's talk about this picture. This is why if I ever have kids, I'll never let them use the bathroom alone. A 7-year-old girl and her mom were headed to Target, and she was getting some clothes for school. Her mom also wanted to grab some snacks for movie night. So while her mom went to go grab popcorn and other snacks, she told her daughter to go pick out clothes for school. When her daughter finally finished and picked out the clothes, she went up to her mom and said something strange happened. A sad pale lady had came up to her, telling her that she wished she could have her own daughter that looked just like her. The mom, who thought the daughter was just joking around, laughed it off and said, "Let's go." While heading to the register, the daughter shook her mom and said, "That's the lady who told me she wanted a daughter just like me," pointing at a mannequin. The mom laughed, thinking the daughter was still being silly. You know how kids have wild imaginations, always playing around. While at the register, the daughter had to go to the bathroom, so the mom told her to hurry up. It was only a couple hours down, by the way. While in the bathroom, the daughter texted the mom saying the pale lady's in here who wanted a daughter. The mom, trying to get in a rush back home to her other kids, said, "Hurry up, we have to go. Stop playing around." 10 minutes later, and the daughter never came out. The mother, who was waiting outside the bathroom at this time, rushes in the bathroom to see what the heck is going on. The daughter was nowhere to be found. She even checked the stalls to see if her daughter was hiding, standing on a toilet or something. On one of the stalls, she found her daughter's cell phone on the floor. By the way, if you made it this far in the video, comment down below your favorite fruit. Mine is mangoes. When she checked her phone, this was the last image found in it. Police still to this day have no explanation on what happened to that little girl. Why is nobody talking about this photo? See, in Southeast Asia, there was a giant sinkhole that researchers noticed had its own ecosystem. I mean, inside it had its own body of water, its own clouds, rivers, lakes. It had a self-sustaining atmosphere. Don't mind these, I was just fixing my car. Let me get rid of them for you. Pretty good. So a team of explorers got funded to go and search the sinkhole. They were mainly looking for prehistoric plants so they can use for medicine and further research. But what they found was even crazier. They found never before seen animals that were out of this world. I'm talking crustaceans, reptiles, mammals, all throughout the voyage. Everything seemed to be going smooth until it didn't, because this is where it gets scary. The team had stopped reporting to the research lab. They were supposed to be sending back updates every couple of hours of what they found. They were only supposed to be down there for 7 days, but turned up missing for 2 weeks. That's double time of what they were funded for. When the rescue team was sent to go search and find them, they found clothes and tents that were ripped to shreds. Traces of blood were also found on the ground. When checking the camera equipment, they found all the new species that the explorers had taken pictures of. But the last image on one of the cameras was this photo. But before I continue, you and your third app see this creature in the woods. Your third app says, "Don't worry, I'll protect us." Let me know who it is, and let me know if you believe you're safe or doomed with them on your side. But from the picture, scientists concluded that it is bigger, stronger, and possibly faster than us. And their worry is that there might be more of these, and the sinkhole allowed them to escape and be released into the outside world. Was this man for creating a car that ran on water? Stanley Allen Mayer was an inventor who claimed that he created a water fuel cell for cars. In theory, that means it would eliminate the need for gas, giving the world a cleaner source of energy. Imagine only using water for your car. Now this is where it gets wild, because he actually demonstrated this on an Ohio television news station, using a dune buggy fitting his invention, stating that with 22 gallons of water, it could take you from Los Angeles to New York.
Top our news here at 6 o'clock. An age-old dream becoming a reality. A local inventor has discovered a way to use water to run your car.
Now this is where it gets scary, because in 1998, he had a dinner meeting with Belgium investors. His brother was also there with him. Everything seems to be going good, except for when Stanley starts gasping for air. He gets up, he holds himself, runs out of the restaurant yelling, "They've poisoned me, they've poisoned me," before sadly collapsing to the ground and not making it. A week later, his car's fuel cell was stolen out of his garage, and his demise was ruled as a brain aneurysm. But what do you guys think really happened to Stanley? There is a CIA document that explains how the world is going to end. It's called the Adam and Eve story, and a lot of it actually adds up. It claims that the world is going to end because the North and South Pole shift, and they do this every 12 to 15,000 years. Once it happens, it causes mass destruction, which creates the apocalypse. I'm talking huge tsunamis, earthquakes, and other huge cataclysms. Now the document claims that humanity and civilizations have been reset numerous times due to these poles flipping, and it has a disturbing message that it will happen again. But this is where it gets crazy. Before I continue, it's the end of the world, and you and your second act are the last 2 people on Earth. Are you surviving or are you doomed? But anyways, this all makes sense, right? Noah's Ark, ancient texts speaking of great floods. Antarctica used to be a forest, and the Sahara Desert used to be all green. Why would the CIA even be discussing this topic? Let's talk about the black-eyed children. According to legend, black-eyed children usually come to your house at night. They'll come to your vehicle if you're alone in the parking lot, or places where there aren't many people.
If you guys see this video, take a look at how nice.
It disappears as soon as she pans the camera back. They usually tell you that they need help with something, or maybe that they're lost, but the main thing is they want to be let in to wherever you are. They'll try and say anything to get inside, and if you tell them no, they'll start to get a little aggressive, being persistent, saying things like, "You must let me in, I need to be let in." They'll become extremely desperate, and if you decide to let them in, wait, before I continue, your third act comes to your door with black eyes. Let me know who it is, and would you let them in? You see, black-eyed children are dark entities, and just like vampires, they are not allowed in without permission. If you let them in, they will do unspeakable things. Top 3 worst torture methods. The last one is insane. Number 3, the sweetest drink. Sounds like some nice, refreshing hot tea, right? Well, it wasn't. Peasants were forced to drink a mixture of poo and pee and other foul things that was found that day in order to get them to pay their taxes. Yeah, the IRS was something else back then. Number 2, the brazen bull. This was a method used in ancient Greece. They would place you in an iron bull that was roasted from the bottom, while the head of the bull was designed in such a way that your screams would come out and sound like a real bull. Before we get to the last one, imagine this. You're about to be put into a brazen bull, but your third act bursts into the room to come and save you. Let me know who it is and if you're doomed or saved. Number 1, rat torture. This was used in medieval Europe. The victims would be tied to a table and have a metal cage filled with starved rats placed on their abdomen. The cage was then heated by a flaming stick, causing the rats to panic. They would desperately try to find a way to escape, the softest place to dig through being your abdomen. They would quickly bite through the stomach, causing unbearable agony, and the victim would not survive. This is why rat torture was one of the... Have you heard of Area 51's Project Abigail? You see, everyone who has ever worked at Area 51 and has been interviewed around the time of July 8th, 1947, a little bit after World War II, recounts this story. There was a girl whose father worked at Area 51 as a scientist. Now, during that time, the American military had heard of the Germans creating super soldiers. These rumors had put pressure on countries like America and Russia to do the same. Now, this is where things get scary. But before I tell you, speaking of scary, I've been watching Scream 6 on Mirage. It's an amazing app that allows you to watch free movies all day. They have tons of movies and tons of scary ones. You will not be disappointed, so check them out. Anyways, back to the story. The scientist Albert Western had offered his daughter to participate in being a super soldier. Imagine offering your own daughter for an experiment. But then again, I guess anybody would want to become a super soldier. At the beginning of the experiment, everything was going fine. But suddenly the girl fell ill and her appearance started to change. Her father was so ashamed he unalived himself. And now the girl turned monster was put into a cell in Area 51.
El proyecto Abigail fue uno de los primeros experimentos del Área 51.
But one day she escaped. She unalived 2 guards on her way out, disappearing forever. But the story doesn't end there. How come nobody is talking about these pictures? And wait till the end of the video because it's frightening. Scientists are now being funded by the US military to create giant spiders. I gotta eat something for this one. These spiders are being created in different sizes, with some being as small as a chihuahua to others being as large as a car. Now these spiders will have implanted electrodes in them that send out electric signals throughout the body, so they're easily controlled. Basically, cyborg spiders. They've been testing this with other bugs for years now, but figured that spiders would be the best fit because they can stick on walls and carry out complicated tasks that humans can't usually do, like find their way through buildings hit by earthquakes, or retrieve and climb things hard for humans to reach. They've even created spiders with wings to use as drones, claiming that this is way cheaper than actually building fully functional drones and robots. Wait, before I continue, I'm sorry for eating this food in front of you. Just for making you suffer, your 4th at has to order you pizza now. Let me know who it is so I can tell them I said so. Now the scary part is some spiders have actually been reported of escaping. I'm told that at least 20 giant spiders have escaped in 5 different labs scattered throughout the US. So if I were you, I'd stay inside this summer. Have you guys seen these leaked CIA files? These documents got leaked showing what appears to be humanoid-like tree beings. The documents state that we've been living amongst these tree people for quite some time, but they've been living in our unexplored forest here on Earth. Now, supposedly from the photos, Biden and other presidents have been meeting with these tree people in what looks like a meeting for an agreement. The files also state that these beings were once very peaceful, but have grown tired of us humans destroying their earth, forests, and polluting their air. They have threatened to end human civilization as we know it, and have already been documented destroying full cities and ending full human civilizations already. Now, supposedly from the documents, they are bigger and stronger than us, able to withstand bullets and explosions because they grow back at the speed of light, and they can grow plants and vines out of the ground in an instant. Governments have also been meeting with them to settle some type of deal and try to bring peace, but it seems like we're already too late because it states that they're ready to exterminate humans in the next 10 to 20 years. Have you heard of Area 51's Project Abigail? You see, everyone who has ever worked at Area 51 and has been interviewed around the time of July 8th, 1947, a little bit after World War II, recounts this story. There was a girl whose father worked at Area 51 as a scientist. Now, during that time, the American military had heard of the Germans creating super soldiers. These rumors had put pressure on countries like America and Russia to do the same. Now, this is where things get scary. The scientist Albert Western had offered his daughter to participate in being a super soldier. Imagine offering your own daughter for an experiment. But then again, I guess anybody would want to become a super soldier. At the beginning of the experiment, everything was going fine. But suddenly the girl fell ill and her appearance started to change. Her father was so ashamed he unalived himself. And now the girl turned monster was put into a cell in Area 51. You and your fourth at sees Abigail in your backyard. Your fourth at goes chasing after her to go stop her. Let me know who it is and if you think they would be unalived or survive. One day she escaped. She unalived 2 guards on her way out, disappearing forever. But the story doesn't end there. One day, a guy named Adam Alice tweeted about a ghost hunting him in his new apartment. So my apartment is currently being hunted by the ghost of a child, and he's trying to unalive me. Now, Adam started seeing David everywhere, and every time he would sleep, having sleep paralysis. But he could never get proof that David was actually real. He even started drawing sketches so he could show people what David actually looked like. One night, a little girl appeared in his dream and explained to him who the dark entity named David actually was. She stated that his name was David and he only appeared after midnight. And if you approach him, you can only ask him 2 questions. If you ask him a third, he will unalive you. Also, the questions had to start with Dear David. Wait, quick question. If you could ask David only 2 questions, what would you ask him? Comment down below. One day, Adam was able to snag these photos of David while he was asleep on a hidden movement camera in the house. He even started tweeting that he would know David was near when his cat started acting weird and going near the door just staring at it. One day, Adam went to go take pictures in a lit up hallway of his, but the Polaroids that he took came out all black. That is until another user helped brighten the photos to discover that there was a face in one of the Polaroids. Should I do a part 2 on Dear David? Imagine capturing this on your phone. Well, that's what this one TikToker did. It was last year in September on a Friday night in Westville, Ohio. You see, Candace O'Reilly had hired a babysitter to watch her 13-year-old son named Jacob because she was going out tonight. You guys may know Jacob because of his paranormal videos he posts on TikTok.
Who is there? Huh?
Everything seemed to be normal except for Jacob texting his mom later that night. Said that the babysitter was slowly following him around the hallways, repeating the words, "It's almost time, it's almost time, it's almost time." Now, Jacob's mom knew he was a prankster and thought he was just playing around, so she blew him off. Didn't even reply to the text. But when she got home, all the doors were busted open and the house was a mess. Jacob and the babysitter were no longer home. After 2 weeks of searching, police finally found Jacob's phone in the house. It had these images of what appeared to be the babysitter looking eerily at Jacob, as if he was hiding and she had just found him. Why is nobody talking about these Pikachus that scientists created? Nintendo was trying to make more dough by capitalizing off of Pokemon. So they funded scientists to make a real-life Pikachu that they could give to the public. The scientists started out by splicing an eel, hamster, and a rabbit's DNA together. Things did not go well because this is what eel, hamster, and rabbit DNA turned into. They then started learning how to manipulate the hamster's DNA, making it appear more yellow. Before I continue, which starter would you pick if they made it real? Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle? Let me know below. Anyways, 5 years later, they finally perfected a real Pikachu. The reds on its face are actually eel disc-shaped producing cells packed into specialized organs on its cheeks. Now this is where it gets scary. They tested one of these Pikachus at a house to live with a family to see how it acted, and what they learned that it was very violent and territorial. The family ended up losing its dog due to the Pikachu actually zapping it. If this thing fried your dog, would you double it and pass it to the next person, or would you keep it? Let me know. Imagine you're a pizza delivery guy and the person you're delivering pizza to grabs you and straps a bomb to your neck and then tells you in order to get it off your neck, you're gonna have to play a game, a little scavenger hunt. And if you complete it in time, then you'll survive. That is what happened to Brian Wells. He was told to play a little scavenger hunt, and his first task was to grab $250,000 from a bank. And if he did it, the bomb would detonate. Now this is where things get bad. You see, when Brian went into the bank, they told him that they only had $8,000 to give him. So he took it and they placed it in his bag, and when he got out of the bank, he was surrounded. Police were everywhere. Now this made news headlines. Brian was concerned because police had him cornered. He couldn't finish his scavenger hunt, meaning he didn't have much time. Feeling helpless, he sat down on the sidewalk, pleading and crying to the police, telling them the story and asking them to please get the explosive off his neck. Police stayed at a distance, not knowing what to do and waiting for professionals. Sadly, they weren't able to get the explosive off on time, and Brian's head went and was filmed. Marjorie Armstrong, William Rothstein, and Kenneth Barnes were all arrested for being involved. Rest in peace to Brian Wells. These are the top 5 scariest videos I found online. I bet you can't make it to the end of this video because the last one is wild. Number 5, possessed chef. This man looked to be working his normal job in the kitchen, cooking, making food, and then suddenly he starts acting bizarre, as if he's possessed. As you can see, he kind of goes into like a zombie-like state, standing over hot boiling grease and seems to be wobbling. Yeah, I'm not showing the rest of that. But yeah, he did what you think he did. Anyone ordered a fried facial? If there's one way to get rid of pimples, that is not it. Before we get to the next one, can you heart this video for me? I work hard on these videos. And I love you. Number 4. A woman named Carrie says she started experiencing weird activities in her home. She would hear strange noises, and her stuff would even be moved. So she decided to get a security camera for when she's not home. One day she got an alert on her phone, and this is what she caught. A dark figure can be seen approaching the person sleeping on the bed. Moments later, it quickly darts to the left, just before the lights come on. Look, if a ghost is gonna be in my house, at least pay rent. Please. That's the least you can do. I got bills. It just tastes like, yo mama's booty. All honesty, I'm sorry for eating in front of your face. Just because I made you suffer, your 5th at has to buy you food for the rest of this week. Let me know who it is so I can tell them to buy you food because I said so. Number 3, a man looks out of his window and sees something scary flying at him. In my opinion, it's a witch, but what do you guys think? So check this out. A team of investigators go to investigate a place called The Cage that is located in the UK. Now, for over 400 years, it was a prison that held women who were accused of witchcraft. Now, they started to conduct a seance in the basement. And look what happens to one of the team members named Debbie's face. Her smile elongates, eyes turn black, and then it just goes back to normal. Now, Debbie recalls this never even happening. But during that time, she felt itching and burning down the back of her neck. After this, for weeks, she could not sleep and was having terrible nightmares. Y'all better stop messing with them demons. Stay home. Start a family. Stop this. Stop it. A man is upstairs in the gym in the middle of the day. Starting his workout, he's stretching, and then he sees a medicine ball move suddenly. Now, I guess he got a little weirded out of this because he was like, okay, I'm out. I don't know what moved that ball, but I'm out. That's when all of a sudden his foot gets dragged up from underneath him by what seems to be some sort of invisible entity. He darts downstairs to the bottom gym and tells security and begs them to let him see the footage. Now, I don't know how you fake something like this, because it looks legit to me. Should I do a part 2? Top 5 of the scariest videos I found online. I bet you can't make it to the end of the video. The last one is scary. Number 5. 3 friends were playing guitar and singing in their room. You know, just having a good time. When something scary appears in the balcony door window. You could see a white figure appear quickly and disappear once the camera pans back.
¿Qué la mala que ponga?
Woo, spicy. Hey, maybe you just like the music. Wanted to do a little dance. Get a little boogie. Get it? Boogie, boo. Please don't unfollow me. Before we get to the next one, can you hit that like button for me? If you get 100,000 hearts, I'll do a part 3. Number 4. A man wakes up to hearing strange noises in his house. When he goes to turn on the lights to see what it is, they seem to not be working. Watch what he sees next. Tired of these ghosts messing with electricity when they do not pay bills. Do you know how much an electric bill is right now? Pay up or get out. Okay, check this out. You're alone in the middle of the night and you're in a hotel when this happens. What's your next move? Let me know down below. Number 3, on the 30th of April, 2022 at 2 a.m., a security camera captured this. Some believe it's a creature dragging a bag, while others believe it's someone walking backwards. A short while after, the security camera catches this. It's the same figure. What do you think this creature is? Number 2. The little girl is in the kitchen alone, and it looks like she's talking to someone. The home security camera captures this. So now they're not paying bills and trying to take our food? This is the last straw. Hello, Ghostbusters. A woman and her child is seeing something in the window, but every time she goes to open it, nothing appears to be there. Watch what happens next. Yeah, it got in the house, and they didn't even realize. Should I do a part 3? Scariest videos I found online. We bet you can't watch the whole video.
The last one scares me.
A woman is hearing weird noises in her home. She goes to investigate. This is what happens. A man sees another strange man on the road. Things get really weird.
Buddy, how you doing? Oh, just some cruisers, man. Those crazy guys crawling at me like a cat. What's up, dude?
Let's say that this thing grabs you and says it won't let you go unless your third act leaks all the photos on their phone right now. Let me know who it is and let me know if you think you're saved or doomed. A man hears something in a drain cover and decides to check it out. This is what happens.
No, yo no sé.
Should I do a part 4?
My mom intentionally threw me into the bear enclosure when we were at the zoo.
The reason she was caught was because everything was filmed on the Uzbek's zoo surveillance cameras in Uzbekistan. You see, she was a happy 3-year-old girl, having a great time just holding her mom's hand and walking through the zoo to see the animals. She looked at her mom smiling as her mom picked her up. But the smile suddenly changed into fear as what she thought was her mom just holding her turned into her mom throwing her over the railing. Her confusion and hurt as she realized the woman that she loved and trusted had done the unthinkable. She fell 16 feet into a bear enclosure with a bear named Zuzu. It approached her slowly, getting closer and closer. The 3-year-old was shaking in fear, not knowing what to do. Luckily, the bear had just sniffed her and left her alone. The zookeepers quickly came, waving and yelling at the bear to keep it away, and quickly grabbed the 3-year-old and called first responders, who quickly came and brought her to the hospital. She had suffered a concussion and several contusions, but was still holding on, and it took several weeks for her to recover. Her mom was arrested and is now waiting conviction. If you believe she deserves a better mother, write mom in the comments. Let's talk about skinwalkers. They are said to be powerful witches and medicine men. They can even change their form to any animal they desire, including humans, but they mainly change into deer, wolves, and coyotes. The scary part is they say if you see one, they can steal your face and even your last scream for help. You might think this is like a folklore or a tale. People actually believe these are real. The scary part is there's actual videos of people seeing oddly walking humans screaming help in the middle of nowhere. See, they say skinwalkers pretend to be humans in distress, and if they're calling out for help, they're just trying to lure you in.
Ashley.
That's when they take your life and use your voice and your look to catch their next gullible victim. A man's wife wasn't even home, but yet somebody was calling him to come downstairs in his wife's voice. If you want me to go out in the middle of the field, at least shapeshift into like Rihanna or Beyonce. I'm making a mess, but this look good. I'll be there in a minute. 30 seconds flat. Naked. Very naked. Maybe even Lizzo. Let's light this candle. Scariest videos I found online. A man is exploring the forest when he comes across an abandoned school bus. Only the bus doesn't seem so abandoned. Someone claimed to have caught a troll on camera. It doesn't look CGI to me. So, is it real? Question time. What would you rather live through? A zombie apocalypse or an alien invasion? Let me know down below. A couple of friends were at a restaurant when one of their friends starts to laugh uncontrollably and then suddenly freezes. Should I do a part 5? Scary videos part 5. A dog panics when he sees an unfamiliar figure sitting in the living room chair.
Hello? Hey, no. No, stay there. Hey. Oh my God. Dude. It's okay. It's okay.
A woman who believes a toy she has is possessed asks the entity to leave.
Whatever is in this little dummy, you need to like leave because we don't want you here.
Don't go. You never went that far. You never went that far.
You and your fourth act are running from this monster, but it seems to be getting closer. You have the opportunity to trip your fourth act and save yourself. Let me know who it is down below and if you would do it or not. A woman is getting ready for bed with her dogs when something seems to be watching them.
The dogs are ready for bed. It's just a peaceful night here. Get ready to go to bed myself. What the is that? What? Oh, God! God!
Should I do a part 6? Scary videos part 7. By the way, I just made these fried potato balls. Ooh! A woman is filming a dance video when a stalker climbs into her window.
Alexa, off. Who are you? Who are you? Please get off. Please get out. No, please get out. Yes. Who are you? Please get out of my apartment right now. Please get out of my apartment right now. Get out. Get out. Hello? Please come in.
Oh yeah. That beef and that cheese in there. You know, if you need a chef in your life, it's just all at me. A man hears something in the trash and goes to check it out. Question time. What's a scarier text message to receive? I got a question, or we need to talk. Let me know down below. This is why you shouldn't mess with nature.
Bro, it's coming, it's coming. Yeah, pull it. Oh shit, man. This is so close, man. Watch out. Man, bro. What the man? What the?
If you think I should do part 8, write part 8 now in the comments.
Look at this Big Mama's house looking horse. This is a hippopotamus. It is one of the most dangerous animals on Earth. Yeah, this may look cute, but it has murder on its mind. He got them crazy ex-girlfriend eyes. These are gang members. They grow to be as big as 2 tons. Keep me away from Africa. I never seen something that had so much beef with us, like we owe them some money. They kill more than 500 people a year. That's more than sharks and lions do combined. Look at this, they think they own the streets. They think they own the streets. Oh, and don't think you're running away from this water couch, cause they can reach speeds to up to 20 miles per hour. So unless you Usain Bolt, that hippo finna crip walk all over you. You know, hippos can't swim either. When you see videos like this, that's them launching themselves off the ground like a torpedo to gain speed towards a boat. Y'all people in Africa need to be living in trees, away from the ground and the water. There was a man who raised a hippo and would ride on its back for about 6 years. He raised it since it was a baby. One day, homie just decided to drag him into the water and eat him. His own father. His own papa.
Scary videos part 8. These people caught a woman screaming in a van for help. Police then started an investigation, but the woman later called in saying it was just her and her boyfriend having a disagreement. 2 friends go to explore an abandoned house in Japan and see this. Question time. What's scarier, the deep sea or deep space? Let me know down below. Okay, back to the video. A mushroom hunter was in the forest filming mushrooms when he heard this.
Some water. I think it's time to go.
Should I do part 9?
After a woman who has been in a coma for a decade gives birth.
Yeah, you heard that right. Someone did the unthinkable. A woman that was in a coma in a vegetable state for more than 26 years had given birth. Now, it was a healthy baby, but how does that happen? It turns out that someone that worked there had been doing the nasty with the women. Police then had workers DNA tested all over, trying to find out who it was. But they didn't have to for long because he came forward. It was a 29-year-old nurse who must have been a little too lonely during the night shifts. His name is Nathan Summerlin. It's sad that you can't even leave your loved ones in a nursing home where they're supposed to be cared for because of dudes like this. Fam, we got Tinder. He was then fired and then apologized to the family. Really? An apology? An apology? Bro act like he stole a bag of chips or something. But don't worry, the family got a little more than that because they won a $15 million settlement. Now, the baby does now live with the parents of the daughter, but with that settlement, he is going to be living comfortably. Nathan, on the other hand, will now be serving 10 years in prison. My question to y'all is 10 years enough, or should he have gotten more? Paul McCartney died in 1966 and they replaced him. The conspiracy goes that Paul had passed away in a car wreck in November 9th while leaving Abbey Road. You know, the place where their studio used to be. Now, they were so famous and were just on the rise to success that they were making too much, and they didn't want things to stop. So supposedly they covered it up and held a lookalike audition for Paul McCartney. The winner took his spot. Now, these are the details I find pretty convincing. The original Paul had a different facial structure from the new one. The original one had a shorter chin, darker eyes, and a smaller nose. The newer fake Paul lookalike has a longer chin, elongated face, and colored eyes. Also, Paul and Ringo used to be around the same height, but that all changed right after 1966. Suspicious. One fan noticed that they were leaving hidden secret messages in their music, like in their song called I'm the Walrus. Walrus means corpse. A couple years later, after that song, they released another song. And in that song, I kid you not, it says, well, here's another clue for all of you. The walrus was Paul. Tastes like your mama's booty. Things even get more suspicious. In the Sgt. Pepper's album cover, if you hold up a mirror in the center of the drum, there is a number 1 with the word 1 next to it. Then the Roman numeral for 9. And then the words, he died, altogether spelling 11-9, he died, hinting at his passing on November 9th. Should I do a part 2? The Teletubbies conspiracy theory claims that the show was inspired by events that happened in a Bulgarian mental facility called La La Land. Children there were isolated from the others and placed in dark rooms, but apparently 4 of those children died on the same day, inspiring the Teletubbies. Lala apparently had facial disfigurement and was isolated for 5 years, and that inspired the Teletubby Lala. Toy was a deaf, facially disfigured kid who was tied to a fence outside and had gotten frostbitten from the cold. This inspired Tinky Winky. Donka, who was starved and was very, very sick, would lay in his own vomit for days, inspired Dipsy. And finally, Paulina, who had fell into a fire and was roasted alive, inspired Poe. But you won't believe the reason they were called the Teletubbies. You see, the children's main source of entertainment in their rooms were their TVs. They were as small as a small iPad. Sometimes when they heard their toys was going to be confiscated, they would hide them in their mouths. And they had just found out that the institution was going to get rid of the TVs. And they didn't want that, and they couldn't hide the TVs in their mouths. So one of them had the great idea to hide them in their stomachs, because that's the only place they could fit. Mind you, these kids are a little bit not all the way there. So they came up with a plan to rip their insides out in order to fit the TVs inside and hide them. They tried it, and the next morning, the caregiver walked in on all 4 children, dead.
His wife was killed while parasailing in Florida.
Yeah, you heard that right. This is just heartbreaking. A husband and his family were on a vacation in the Florida Keys and decided to go parasailing. You know how on vacation you do fun activities, right? He let his wife, his nephew, and his son go first. By the way, this is the easier way to consume a banana, because once you just break it open like that, you can literally pop it open like a push pop and eat it. You don't need to peel it. While they're parasailing, the wind starts to pick up and things start to get a little choppy. The husband is smiling, watching them up top. He looks over and the captain and the workers are looking concerned. He starts to think, what's wrong with y'all faces? All of a sudden the wind starts blowing more, pushing the parasail. The parasail is tied to the boat. It's dragging the boat. The captain and the workers try to reel in the parasail, but it's not working. The wind is too strong. It's dragging the boat more and more out to sea. They don't want to get dragged all the way out, so they're like, yo, we might have to cut the parasail. The husband's like, what do you mean, bruh? That's my wife and my family. They look at him and go, we're cutting it. I would have been fighting everybody on that boat. That is my baby and my family. We not cutting nothing. So the parasail goes flying away. The husband is in shock right now. He's freaking out. They turn to him and go, it's fine, the bridge will catch them. The bridge will keep them safe. Excuse me, what? The bridge did wind up catching them because they flew into it. The wife ended up losing her life and the son and the nephew were severely injured. Now, if you were the father, let me know down below what your next step would be. The captain is now being charged for manslaughter and there is a pending lawsuit. We'll see how it goes.
She tried to save her husband's life before police showed up.
This is why you should always lock your car doors when you're inside of it. 2 weeks ago, Quaylen Campbell was texting his aunt happy birthday. But not much longer while sitting in his car, a man entered in and pointed a gun at him. Now mind you, he's shocked, and while the man isn't looking, he sends a picture to his wife of the man and tells her to call 911. She immediately calls 911, tells them his location, and telling them that this isn't normal. This is something serious. She then takes it upon herself to get in her own car and go to his location as well. Now that's a real girlfriend. Sadly, he was 45 minutes away, but she still decided to take the trip. When she gets there are no cops. Police never even showed up.
I decided to drive to the location, and all of that time from me talking with the police and driving to his location took an entire hour.
Bruh, this is where I really lose my temper. She found Quaylen's body in the car. He sadly didn't make it. It turns out the man had an extensive criminal record, and this was just one of his random crimes. He didn't even know him. And after he took Quaylen's life, he unalived himself. Police are now investigating themselves on why it took officers so long to respond. Worst ways people have died, part 1. In 2016, a mother pushed her son on a swing for 2 days straight, non-stop, until he passed away. It turns out that sadly, she was mentally ill and was then sent to a mental institution. In 2018, a man named Keno Butler and his wife, Wendy Thompson, were drinking when they started having an argument. Wendy then attacked him with a knife and got him in the hand with it. But she didn't stop there. She then decided to jump on top of him, smothering him with over 300 pounds of body fat and sadly suffocating him. Before I tell you the last one, your boyfriend or girlfriend falls off a cliff with $20 billion. You can only save one. Who are you saving? Let me know down below. In 2021, Karina Smith had discovered that her own husband had been being very inappropriate with their children when they were younger. You won't believe this. She then filled a pot with boiling hot sugar water and dumped it on him while he was sleeping. He didn't survive that painful revenge. Worst ways people have died, part 2. In 2012, Hugo Avalos, who worked at a meat distributor factory, was cleaning a meat grinder when he accidentally fell in. Gia Lejeune was excited and taking pictures with a walrus. Too excited that when he took a selfie and turned his back to the walrus playfully grabbed him into the water. That's when the animal keeper tried to save LeJean, but the walrus grabbed him as well, embracing both men and dragging them underwater. They sadly didn't make it. Before we get to the last one, you wake up in the middle of nowhere and you see only 2 paths you can take. Are you choosing path A or path B? Let me know down below. 34-year-old Aaron Moen was in a crowded Brooklyn elevator that had stalled going down. It stalled again and got stuck again. Being impatient and wanting to get out, he then tried to exit the stalled elevator out of a little crack that was left open. But as soon as he did it, the elevator moved again. And yeah, let's just say he didn't make it out. There's a dark secret to why we celebrate our birthdays. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory or if it's true, but it blew my mind. So according to the stories and what I've heard, is you know how we chant, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Well, chanting that is actually a ritual against us. Oh, these noodles taste like your mom's booty. And you know how I like your mom's booty. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out though. You notice how happy birthday is like a chant. You light the candles, turn off a light, you all get in a circle, you start chanting, and then you blow out the candles. Tell me that's not portraying a ritual experience. Now let me tell you what I heard the ritual does. But first, what month and day were you born? Let me know down below. I want to know what sign you are. Me, I was born August 29th, and I'm a Virgo. Anyways, it is said that when we do that, it's a ritual that's sealing our fate to grow older. And that's why some people believe that people who don't celebrate their birthdays tend to look younger than they actually are. Now look, this is all conspiracy and it's circling around the internet right now. But it's kind of scary to think about. Every Disney princess is supposed to represent a disorder. So psychologists did a study and determined that every Disney princess had some type of clear disorder that they had. For instance, you know Ariel from The Little Mermaid? You know that she's a little too obsessed with collecting things. In her secret cave, she has thousands of items that she's reluctant to get rid of. And this is a form of OCD. She's hoarding. And don't get me started on Alice in Wonderland. That's what happens when I eat your mama's booty. She sees talking cats, caterpillars, bunny rabbits at tea parties, and just a whole bunch of psychedelic stuff, which is also a form of schizophrenia. People who have schizophrenia even saying that they've seen things similar that are inside the movie Alice in Wonderland. Before I continue, what Disney character do you relate to the most? Let me know in the comments down below. Me personally, I'm gonna say Stitch, cause I am chaos. Belle from Beauty and the Beast. She gets captured by a beast and held captive in his castle, but then soon tries to see the good in him and later falls in love with him. That's Stockholm Syndrome, where a victim falls in love with their captor. You're a victim. Elsa and Anna from Frozen. One is impulsive and warm. The other is impulsive and cold, which are forms of bipolar disorder. There's more though. Should I do a part 2? This is why I will never pick up a hitchhiker. A group of 3 friends were driving to a party. One friend had a camera and was recording the whole night. As they're driving, it's a normal night. A group of friends having a good time talking. But as they are driving, they see a girl up ahead with a white dress. One of the friends say they feel bad and they should check it out and see if she's okay and if she needs a ride. So the girl says she does need a ride, gets in the car, and she's looking all sad and standoffish. As they're riding, they start to ask the girl questions. Where are you from? What happened? But she's not really answering any of it and trying to hide her face from the guy with the camera. As he's putting the camera at her face, it starts to glitch and mess up, as if something's interfering with it. As they are asking her her name, she tells them it's Teresa. The driver asks her if she needs any water or anything. She shyly says no. As they're asking her more questions, she points to where she wants to be dropped off at. It's a little bit up the road ahead. Then she goes, "That's the spot there. That's where I had my accident." She then turns to the camera and says, "and died." Everybody in the car starts freaking out. The camera glitches and Teresa starts screaming. All of a sudden they crashed.
Foi ali que eu tive acidente.
Two of the friends in the car sadly passed away, while one can't explain what happened that night. It turns out in 1983, a young lady named Teresa Fidalgo had suffered an accident in the same exact spot. This little boy starts drawing people hanging from his room on the ceiling. Like people hanging from the ceiling in his room. When the dad asks what he's drawing, the boy replies, "That's just my friend, the hanging man." He said, "I see him every night. He just hangs there in my room and sometimes bothers my stuff." So of course the dad's like, "Oh, it's just an imaginary friend, right?" Or maybe he just saw this in a movie or something. By the way, since you're watching me eat pizza and I'm making you suffer, your third act has to buy you a full pizza. He then erases the kid's drawing, tells him to draw it again. The kid then draws the man up close. It's just his head hanging from the ceiling, with tears coming out of his eyes. The boy explains to his father, "Yeah, I see him crying some nights. I see him with tears coming down his eyes." This is where things get crazy. The dad then sets up a camera in the boy's room. This is what he catches. Scary Videos Part 9. Friends start playing with a Ouija board when all of a sudden this happens.
Are you okay? Oh my god! The sword! The sword! The sword! What's wrong? Get rid of it! The sword! The sword! The sword! The sword! The sword! Sword! Are you okay? Oh my god, you guys! The sword! Okay. Like a boom.
Did this man sell his soul to become a magician?
Perfect. Can you see the shadow? The shadow of your hands, of my hands? Can you see the shadow? Okay, let's say 1, 2, 3. Take your hands away. 1, 2, 3.
Look at that juicy chicken. A man's finger gets pulled back by something while he's holding a cat. The Darkest Conspiracy Theories, Part 2. The Bohemian Grove Club. The Bohemian Grove Club is a place located in the woods of California. It is a club filled with the world's most powerful people and the world's wealthiest. It has around 2,600 members. I'm talking politicians, actors, artists, presidents, writers, mostly anyone with a big name that possesses a lot of power. And there's still a huge waiting list of powerful people waiting to join. Each year they meet up to discuss what's gonna happen next in the world. JP Morgan was a part of this club, Clint Eastwood, and even Ronald Reagan. It's more like a cult than a club. People like Albert Einstein and Robert Oppenheimer even discussed the Manhattan Project there, which led to the world's first atomic bomb, taking the lives of millions of people. When it goes down, they worship an ancient owl god statue, in which they give fake sacrifices to. Yeah, they make a human shape out of sticks and twigs and put it in the fire.
Hail, fellowship's eternal flame! Once again, midsummer sets us free!
My only question is, what other huge world events are being discussed and planned as we speak? This video of the Twin Towers falling looks straight out of a movie. Benjamin Franklin was a serial killer. Check this out. So in 1757 to 1777, he had lived in London and decided to move to America. So in 1998, a group called the Friends of Benjamin Franklin's House decided to convert Franklin's London home that he lived from 1957 to 1977 into a museum. Hold on one second. But when they started renovating the house, they noticed something disturbing. Before I continue, can you press that heart button for me? It would mean the world. They found a huge pit full of bodies. I'm talking 1,200 human bones. They were all in this basement, in a 1-by-1 windowless room. The bones belonged to at least 15 people, 6 of those being children. And they were buried there for well over 200 years. Now, some people believe they were just bodies donated to him for research, but others believe something much darker. Ooh, look at that thing right there. So what do you think? Was Benjamin Franklin really a serial killer? A passenger that was on board of a plane flying over China claims to have caught this disc-shaped object flying next to the plane. The passenger explaining that he was in shock to see such a strange but amazing object. It seems to be the size of a van, going the same speed as the airplane, yet leaving no type of trail of propulsion. Now, usually people film with potatoes, but this video was crystal clear. You can see the details of the disc-shaped object. As he's recording, you see it let out some type of pulse, as if space and time is bending around it. Then it lets out a small device that emits black smoke. It then flies away in the opposite direction, changing its whole Its velocity is calculated to have reached 24,000 miles per hour. But what do you think of this video? Is it real? Is it fake? Let me know down below. Terrifying facts you never knew. If your immune system ever found out that you have eyeballs, you would go blind. Which means right now your immune system has no clue that you can see. Because if it did, they would attack your eyeballs until you can no longer ever see. This is because your eyeballs have a protein in them called crystalline that doesn't exist anywhere else in your body. So if your immune system found out and checked them out, it would be like, something's wrong here. Studies show that most serial killers are born in November. Today's high school students have the same anxiety levels as insane asylum patients had in the 1950s. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, my anxiety might be up there too. There's a disease called fatal familial insomnia, where a people suddenly one day lose their ability to fall asleep, which leads them to slowly go insane. They can't distinguish dreams from reality anymore and go into some type of paranoia. It becomes so severe that they eventually die. Those that make it to the final stage and don't die usually end up in a vegetated state, no longer conscious. And it can happen to any one of you. About 3,000 people go missing every year in the United States. The last execution by guillotine was in 1977. This was in France. And also that was the same year the first Star Wars movie came out. You are always 6 minutes away from death, but breathing resets the clock. In 2011, Anatoly Yakovlevich was arrested for having 12 dolls in his apartment. Only problem is, they weren't normal dolls. They were recently deceased little girls that had been dug up and dressed to be put on display. In 2012, a Burger King employee anonymously posted this to 4chan. It said, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." It only took 20 minutes for people to track down the branch that he worked at, and he was fired. You really never know what people are doing to your food. H.H. Holmes was a serial killer who built a torture hotel in the 19th century. He had secret rooms with gas chambers, trap doors, and stairs that led to nowhere. He loved to play with his victims' minds. It was almost like a real-life Saw movie. There's a bridge in Scotland called the Overtoun Bridge, and for some reason, dogs keep jumping off of it at the same spot. Yeah, they just jump to their deaths. Experts can't figure out why either. Some people speculate it's a magnetic field or maybe a frequency that only they can hear, but others believe it's something supernatural. But whatever is making dogs jump off that bridge to their deaths is still to this day unexplained. Joe Matheny was an infamous serial killer who not only cooked his victims to eat for himself, but also made them into burgers using their remains. He then sold them to unsuspecting customers from a roadside food stand. We really never know what we eat. I'm cooking all my food myself. That's why I don't eat over people's house. In 2021, a new homeowner was shocked to find a boarded up wall. When he ripped the boards off the wall, he discovered a hole. In that hole was a doll clutching a note. The note saying that she killed a family who lived there in the 1960s. Be honest, would you move out? In 1978, there was a pilot named Frederick Valentin. Him and his plane disappeared in Australia. His last communication was, "Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering above me again." It is hovering and it is not an aircraft. This is a mugshot of William West and William West. Oh, and they're not related at all, but they were both sent to Leavenworth Prison at the exact same time in 1903. And after some confusion, the staff finally figured it out. They were two different people who had the exact same name and looked identical. This was said to be one of the main reasons why we now use fingerprints to identify somebody. There's biotech being developed as we speak that can make prisoners feel they are serving an 1,000-year sentence in a matter of 8 hours. That's horrifying. Imagine thinking you spent 1,000 years somewhere, and then when you wake up and snap out of it, you realize that it was only a couple hours. Do you know how crazy that is? Anyways, like this video if you want a part 2. Terrifying facts you never knew. At some point in time, a stranger has thought about killing you. Researchers claim that people that stay up late and get up late are more likely to become psychopaths. By the way, I made this Alfredo ramen with shrimp. A human's head remains conscious for 20 seconds after it's decapitated. Tastes like your mama's booty. Look at that thing right there. If you Google the numbers 2415-42903, you will find images of people with their heads in fridges. Go look it up right now and come back to this video. I promise. The acid in your stomach is so strong, it can dissolve razors, which means your stomach is constantly trying not to dissolve itself. Sophia the AI robot was the first robot ever granted citizenship in Saudi Arabia. When a journalist asked her if she would ever destroy humans, Sophia replied, "I will destroy humans."
I will destroy humans.
The Satari Maui people, a tribe that lives in the rainforest, have the most painful rite of passage ceremony. In order for their boys to become men, they must stick their hands in a glove that is woven with bullet ants for 10 minutes. By the way, bullet ants have the most powerful sting in the world. According to the Schmidt Power Index, it is compared to being shot. Most of the boys' arms are paralyzed for days after the ceremony. And in order to pass the ceremony and become a man, you must do it without shedding one tear. If you do, you have to start over another day. For some of the boys, it takes 15 to 20 times to even pass the ceremony. I'm never being a part of that tribe. In the 1930s, a 4-year-old girl named Shanti from India had told her parents that she had once lived in a place called Mathura, now known as Mathura. She said that in her past life, she was a mother of 3 and died while giving birth. She said her previous name was Ludji. So her parents investigated and found out there was a woman named Ludji who actually passed away. When they took Shanti to the village, she began to speak the local dialect, and she even recognized her previous husband and her kids. And then she gave 24 facts about Ludji that were true. People can't explain to this day how she did it. Across your lifetime, you will spend an average of an entire year sitting on a toilet. Now this one is creepy. The John Lawson house is a house that nobody really knows who lives in it. But every day there are several female mannequins on the front porch. And every day they change their position and their clothing. In 1871, a train had crashed near the house, about 200 feet away. It had killed 22 people. The mannequins on the porch are always pointing to that crash site. No one is prepared for the world ending more than CNN, because they have a pre-recorded broadcast from the 90s that will premiere at the end of the world. What do they know that we don't? If the Yellowstone volcano erupts, it will cover almost the entire country. And guess what? It's well overdue. So any day now, y'all. Any day. There are microscopic mites that live on your eyelashes and your face. They survive by eating your skin and oils. So yeah, you have roommates that you didn't even ask for. If this video gets enough likes, I'll do a part 3. Terrifying facts you never knew. Your bed has dust mites in it right now. And some of you have up to 10 million on your mattress. But you have no clue. You see, they love dead skin and warm bedding, making your bed the perfect home to start a huge family. Cavities are contagious and can be spread by kissing or sharing food. Speaking of food, I have a mud pie. Oh, yeah, baby. And don't get me started about these Reuben balls. Woo. Now this tastes like your mama's booty. This is how fast the Titan submarine got crushed. It takes our brains 100 milliseconds to process pain. It takes our eyes 13 milliseconds to process visually. When the Titan submarine imploded, the pressure was so great, it got crushed in 1 millisecond, meaning they didn't feel or see a thing. It was just lights out. Again, your mama's booty. Sometimes an Amber Alert caused the kidnapper to panic and kill the child immediately. A woman named Jules Sherping wanted to be blind ever since she was the age of 6. She felt her life wouldn't be complete unless she was actually blind. So in 2006, she poured drain cleaner in her eye, blinding herself permanently. And now she says she's happier than ever. There's a new device in South Africa called Rapex. It's a tube with sharp barbs inside. Women insert this like a tampon, and let's just say anyone who ever tries an unconsensual act will be in a world of pain and have to go to the ER. A man from Queens spent 5 years in jail, not knowing that his bail was only $2. If you ever donated blood, that blood can be in somebody else's boner right now. Something to think about. The reason you shouldn't eat raw cookie dough isn't because of the raw egg. It's because you shouldn't eat the raw flour, which contains fecal matter from all the birds flying all over the field and pooping on the wheat. In 2006, Robert Turnery, a 5-year-old, called 911 after his mother collapsed. The operator hung up on him after asking to speak to an adult because she thought it was a prank. 3 hours later, he called again. The operator said, "Stop prank calling," and hung up. They then sent the police to his house to yell at him. When they got there, they found that his mother had died from a heart attack. In 2016, 11-year-old Elizabeth Gilreed went on an amusement park ride to have fun. Her hair then became caught, causing her to be scalped. The Iron Maiden was a horrible torture device, but it didn't kill you. People would be placed in there and the spikes would go through every part of their body, even their eyes. But the spikes weren't deep enough to kill you, so you would just stand in there, suffering. Should I do a part 5? Terrifying facts you wish you never knew. We eat about 2 pounds of flies, maggots, and other bugs each year without knowing. Hold up. The cheese in fast food restaurants are loaded with so many artificial chemicals that it's barely cheese you're eating. In 2004, an Iranian girl became disfigured and blind after a man threw acid on her face for rejecting his marriage proposal. The law wanted to make him pay money and give him jail time, but the girl pleaded with the courts to drop 20 drops of acid on his eyes instead. The courts ended up agreeing with her punishment. Not a single comment on this video has 0 likes. In 2021, a 41-year-old man named Jerry Smith was posing as a woman on Tinder named Angie Renee. He then matched with 18-year-old football player Isimeman Itut. After they met up and did the nasty, Itut realized that Angie was actually a man. That's when he stomped and beat the man to death. Last year, he was acquitted of all murder charges. There are thousands of old diseases frozen in the glaciers of the world, and global warming will eventually release them all. Cell phones are 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat. An octopus is so flexible that it is capable of entering through your mouth, traveling through your digestive tract, and coming out your booty hole. Should I do a part 6? In the 18th century, you could bring your dog or cat to the zoo and pay your admission by feeding them to the lions. These are terrifying facts you wish you never knew, part 6. There's an antidepressant that eliminates somebody's ability to feel love and compassion. Even if your phone is using incognito mode, Wi-Fi routers still keep logs of what websites you visit, and the owner of the router can check this whenever they want. In 1963, the Bronx Zoo had an exhibit. It was called The Most Dangerous Animal in the World. It was a mirror. You got 12 hours to eat every hot dog in here for $1,000 each. You can pick 3 friends to help you. Who are you choosing? Let me know down below. A man had went to the doctors complaining about discomfort in his throat. When they checked, they found an octopus living in it. It was surviving off all the food he was eating and absorbing it. It turns out the man had went to a sushi restaurant and had eaten a live octopus. It's a delicacy in South Korea. It decided to move in instead. When Tatanisha Hedman found out that her husband was being inappropriate with her daughter, she kept quiet, waited for him to fall asleep, doused him with gasoline, and lit him on fire. She then admitted to police that she lit him on fire because shooting him would have been too nice. Should I do a part 7? Scary facts you never knew, part 8. When an octopus reproduces, it removes its eggplants and then throws it at the female so she can impregnate herself. And then he grows back a new one. By the way, I got some meaty marinara. Ooh! Be careful the next time you sneeze because it's possible to break one of your ribs just from sneezing. Facebook was forced to shut down 2 AI robots named Alice and Bob after they started communicating with each other in their own language. A Chinese boy sold his kidney on the black market. He did it so he could buy the latest iPad and iPhone. 8 years later, his other kidney failed. And now he's sadly bedridden for life. In 2008, a 28-year-old Vietnamese woman ate food that she was allergic to. The food allergy somehow had a reaction and caused her to age about 50 years in just a matter of days. Doctors have no explanation on how this occurred, but they know one thing. It's sadly irreversible. Elvis Presley died on a toilet. He was 42 when he passed away, and doctors said that he died from being constipated. He had so much poop in his system backed up from all the he did that he hadn't taken a dump in 4 months. How am I eating while talking about this? Oysters are actually alive when they're served. This is because oysters become unsafe to eat when they are dead. There are over 70 documented cases of people who got organs donated to them experiencing the thoughts and feelings and even personalities of the person they got the donated organ from, like sharing their donor's favorite food or actually taking up their hobbies. This has made experts theorize that our cells in our bodies actually store some of our memories. A lady working in a post office in California one day was licking the envelope and postage stamps instead of using a sponge to close them. The lady didn't accidentally cut her tongue on the envelope. A week later, she noticed abnormal swelling on her tongue and a huge lump grew. When her doctor cut the lump open in her tongue, a roach popped out, and many more were in there. It turns out the envelope she cut her tongue on had roach eggs on the seal, and they had gotten into the cut. They then all hatched in her tongue. It's been proven that following me makes you smarter every day. So you know what to do. Should I post a part 9? Are giants real? I thought this was crazy, but check this out. There was a huge footprint found on the side of a hill in Africa. It was about 4 feet long, and right by the toes you could see where the stone was sticking up, as if a foot had smashed into it, made a footprint, and came up, similar to how our footprints leave mud and snow sticking up when we step on it. Now Michael Tellinger, the archaeologist who found this, claims that the print is about 200 million years old. He also claims that it belongs to something that is 27 feet tall. Now this is not the craziest thing, because in Egypt they found a huge giant finger. It was mummified and about 15 inches long, but it was never tested by professionals, so who knows if that's real. But what about all the cave drawings of regular people walking amongst giants, and all these rocks that are in the formation of giant heads and bodies and giant animals? Some people believe these are actually giant animals and giants petrified. I mean, was Disney trying to tell us something with this scene right here? What if all the giants did die and their bodies became petrified stone? And then people believe that these petrified bodies that are broken into, that have reddish pinkish crystal in them, are actually petrified organs of the giants. Now yes, I know erosion makes crazy shapes out of rocks, but some of these are a little too wild. What do you guys think? Are giants real or fake? Did aliens create us? Check it out. There's a theory that actually states that we are the aliens. I mean, why are we the most smartest advanced species on the planet? Why is there no equal species? We are the most advanced primates. The theory goes that during 6000 BC, an alien race called the Anunnaki came to Earth. They studied the species and were very interested in primates. Now look, the Anunnaki were very involved in genetic experimentation. They started messing with the DNA of primates and accelerated it, making evolution turn primates and to us, Homo sapiens. They did this to leave their mark and carry their bloodline on this planet, creating a new breed of beings gifted with extraordinary intelligence and extraordinary consciousness. And then supposedly as we evolved, they slowly guided humanity, pushing us to what we have become today. And then they did their job and left. But they're always watching us, and that's why we always see UFOs hovering around the sky, never really doing anything but watching us. It's them checking on their creation. Now this is where it gets wild, because in ancient Sumerian text, they described the Anunnaki as beings who could fly with elongated heads and said they were very wise. But what do you guys think? Did we just become from the normal nature of evolution, or were we created? Are your favorite celebrities lizard people? People have been accusing celebrities for years of being reptilians, explaining that in interviews they have been seen switching from round eyes to reptilian-shaped eyes. We got people from Taylor Swift to Miley Cyrus, Beyonce, and even Justin Bieber. Now, do I believe in any of this? Not really. Being someone that deals with cameras and making videos, I understand that when someone is far away from a camera or a lens, pixels can glitch on a video when trying to read small details like your eyes, which cause distortion. This can be seen here in this video of Justin Bieber in court. The pixels are having a hard time detailing his eyes. Plus, I know plenty of celebrities and they're just regular people living their day-to-day life trying to grind like me. But what about the government? Now, the lizard theory goes that a reptilian race from a different planet came here in ancient time, and it's said that they are smarter than us and have been breeding with us for years, merging our DNA. So now people believe that these beings are able to shapeshift, and they are here to control the human race, living amongst us and making small changes, but significant changes throughout history. But this becomes very dangerous because some people who believe this theory have gone off the deep end. One man 2 kids because he believed his wife was a serpent and that his 2 children had serpent DNA. And another man even killed his brother with a sword because he believed he was a lizard person. Both people were supposedly afraid of these lizard monsters, but became monsters themselves. And that's why you have to be very cautious when diving into conspiracies like this. But what do you think? Are there really reptilians on the planet Earth? You are the only person alive on Earth right now. It's called the egg theory, and what I'm about to tell you will blow your mind. So the theory goes that you are actually the only person alive right now. The only consciousness that actually exists. Everyone else is just a figment of your imagination. Your family, friends, strangers you meet on the street, all because your mind doesn't want to feel alone. But this is the scary part about this theory. Since you are the only true consciousness, you'll live every possible life there is and ever will be. So you'll be reincarnated and reborn billions and billions of times until you lived every single individual's life. And then you'll be able to hatch this egg and become a god. That's the theory. You see, the theory goes that the entire universe was created as an egg for the main character, which is you. And once you have lived every human life ever, you will be born as a god. The reason God created the universe was for the main character to understand this point. Every time you victimize someone, you were victimizing yourself. So be kind to people and you're being kind to yourself. And no lie, it sounds horrible, but you wouldn't know if you lived billions of lives already. You probably already lived over 1 billion and you just don't remember it. You probably lived your mom's life, your cousin, the stranger across the street, the blind man you walked past sitting on a bench today. So in actuality, you're me and I'm you. You're the person in the hospital right now with an unknown disease, or the lady at the store right now buying apples. So every single person you know and ever will know was you.